Democratic Representative Raja Krishnamurthy of Illinois. He sits on the House Intelligence and Oversight Committees, is also a ranking member of the Select Committee on China. Congressman, thanks so much for making time on this Saturday afternoon to come by and chat. I want to go back and start with Ukraine. We heard at the top of our broadcast Nick Payton-Walsh talking about Russia's recent attacks on Ukraine, and this week the U.S. announced it's sending $275 million in military aid, in part to fight off Russia's advance in the Kharkiv region, which he was laying out. We know Ukraine is short on manpower, weapons, ammo, and he talked about the 6-month delay that Congress experienced because they couldn't get the aid package done. Do you think this aid is going to arrive in enough time for Ukraine to turn this around and keep control of its second largest city?
Yes, I think so. I think that the Ukrainians are putting up a heck of a defense right now. And I think that, unfortunately, the pipeline has been bare, so to speak, with regard to the vital equipment that they need. Now that pipeline is starting to fill up. And I think that the Ukrainians will then be able to access the ammunition as well as other equipment necessary to make an even more forceful defense of Kharkiv and Ukraine more generally.
And I want to talk to you. Sit on the Select Committee on China. I want to talk about what's going on with China and Taiwan. The Chinese President Xi Jinping, no doubt watching what's happening with Russia invading Ukraine, the international support, how it has waned, and how Ukraine has had to fight for that support. And then this week, China launched new military drills encircling Taiwan, saying the large-scale exercises are designed to test its ability to, quote, seize power over the island. And it's coming just a few days after Taiwan swore in its new president. What do you think China is trying to do here? It seems pretty obvious.
Well, I think they're trying to intimidate the new president, Mr. William Lai. I think it's really provocative and it's dangerous, however, because these types of exercises could easily lead to unintended catastrophic consequences involving fatalities, and the situation could spiral out of control. So they should really stick to the status quo, which is avoiding provocative activity on their side, but also Taiwan doing the same. The other thing, my other takeaway here, Jessica, is it's possible that the Chinese economy is even worse than what we thought, and that Xi Jinping is trying to distract attention from a faltering economy by engaging in these exercises. And so I hope he will stop with these provocative measures, but that also gives one pause to reflect on what's happening within China.
And President Biden has said in the past that U.S. forces would get involved and defend Taiwan if China attacked. Obviously, that's many steps ahead. But we are seeing these military drills. We're seeing China cozying up to Russia. And you pointed out that when this is going on, even an inadvertent catastrophe could lead to a conflict. Do you think that it ups the chances of a U.S. military conflict in that region?
Well, I think that anything is possible, unfortunately, when somebody engages in reckless behavior, such as what China is doing in the Taiwan Strait, and for that matter, in the South China Sea. One thing that perhaps your viewers are already aware of is that they're routinely water cannoning Philippine vessels in the South China Sea, and that's also very dangerous. And so I think that right now what we need to do in the U.S. is we need to step up our assistance to Taiwan to make sure that they can resist any aggression and deter aggression. The Biden administration has done an excellent job so far, but obviously we need to get more, and we need to do it faster at this point with regard to porcupining Taiwan.
And 2 weeks ago, we saw Russian President Vladimir Putin visiting China, meeting with Xi Jinping there. What does their alliance mean for America?
Well, it's a marriage of convenience. On the one hand, Xi Jinping is able to buy cheap oil from Russia. And on the other hand, Russia is able to access much needed technology to fuel its war machine and the criminal invasion of Ukraine. I think that China has basically gone all in with regard to the war in Ukraine, and it's hope that Ukraine fails to prevail, or that it is conquered by the Russians. But I think the cost of that is obviously we become closer to our partners, friends, and allies in Europe and elsewhere in defense of democracy, something that the Chinese don't like. They don't like when other nations multilaterally come together and adopt countermeasures with regard to China. And so, if anything, their persistence in helping Russia in its criminal invasion in Ukraine is bringing us closer to our allies and partners in other ways.
All right, Representative Raja Krishnamoorthi, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.